angry man when you come and you don't come with a receipt and you come with explanation. So that is where we are. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Commissioner. You see, this is an indication that I'm not here to praising him, but by his actions and words, he's doing what Sudanese expect him to do. The next batch of questions. In the press, there is no female. I'm just seeing hands of men. Sorry? No, it's gender. Okay, let me start this. Yes, Baba. Number one. Emmanuel.
Yes, what I want to recommend to commissioners is about those MDAs and ministries like local council that have been listed here. For us not just to rely on the Auditor General report, but to move to the scenes of those ways as ACC or whatever to check within the system. Because as you earlier mentioned, you are talking about most of the errors are human errors and most of these are leaderships. I would quite to believe because of political differences, those informations don't need to be tied up like this for us to ACC.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah? No. Okay, yes.
Mohammed Usman Bangura, publisher Capital Times newspaper. During the last year's press conference on the same audit reports, I told the Commissioner that corruption has firmly gripped Syria, but he does not believe. Now, 2023 is out, and we have seen it all. I want to know what measures can be actually implemented to address this cancer that has eaten the development of Syria. Commissioner.
Thank you so much. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Fully back on. I write for the Calabash newspaper. Looking at the issues highlighted in the 2023 Auditor report, they are just the same like previous reports. And so, what lessons has the ACC learned in all of these, and how has this shaped the Commission's strategy addressing this issue of corruption in our country? Secondly, you are talking about the big fish and the fly. And in your submission, most of what you say that most times you don't have compelling evidence to actually prosecute those big fish that people are saying. And also in most of the press releases that most times you put out, you say that the matter does not meet the threshold of prosecution and indictment. I want to know, how is the ACC addressing or balancing the weight in terms of a matter for a threshold for prosecution and that of indictment, and a matter that does not constitute a threshold for indictment?
Thank you very much. The last question. Yes, okay.
Ibrahim Sarasisi, Voice of Salon Radio. Commissioner, you raised an issue pertaining the Auditor General's report, where you said that some of those issues that on the report you cannot be able to act on it because you can leave it as it is. And how can you relate politics and administration? Because you said that the minister will not have anything to do with finance, but they are working with those administrators. How can you relate them, and how can you be able to prosecute those things that they are done relating to corruption?
Okay, thank you. So, Commissioner will now.
I think there's a gentleman who has been assisted. Yes.
My name is Saidu. We are right for exclusive. Mr. Commissioner, would you like Parliament to debate the reports?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Emmanuel Thomas. Emmanuel started by saying that most of it is done by human error. And you're right, I have always, reason. I said, one thing I have learned in my role as ACC Commissioner is this. Some countries have typhoons that come and destroy a lot of things. Wind, like Mozambique, Haiti. Some have earthquakes that destroy properties and buildings and they spend time. Some suffer from drought. There is no rain and the place is so dry that they don't have food to eat. you know what is our problem? Our typhoon is a human being. Our problem is us, the humans. We don't have typhoons. We don't have earthquakes. We don't have any of those disasters. But the working human being, every time it's coming towards you, a disaster is coming. So we have to take steps to control them, just as we prepare for typhoons, as we prepare for earthquakes in those other countries, as we prepare for drought, as we prepare for flooding in other countries. Because our problem is human. Therefore, I know some of you have seen my videos or lectures around these things, around universities, not so? Yes. And I gave two options. The slow process over a long period of time or the cataclysmic, not so? It's either we continue to take this slow process or we introduce very drastic measures. For example, I see no reason why we should not have death penalty for serious offenses against the revenue of the state. But are we willing to do that? I'm sure even when I've said it, sent a lot of fear. We have to be drastic. Countries take drastic measures for problems that they feel strongly about. I went to Russia and Moscow was flooding. They took the entire river and put it in a tunnel to save Russia from flood. That is a serious human decision and action. If our problems are our fellow human beings, we have to be a little bit more drastic with our fellow human beings. So if you ask me what to do, that is what I would say. But it is not entirely in my powers. I am not parliament. I am not head of state. I do not run the country. But what we can do is to continue working with these institutions to remind them of some of these situations and to see how we can fix them. Moriba asks, lessons learned. The lessons we've learned is that prevention is better than cure. We can be arresting people, we can be taking them to prison, we can take steps, we should do those. But the most important thing we have to do is to invest in prevention. The country has to invest in technology. The country has to invest in digitization. The country has to reduce the human-to-human contact in dealing with resources and revenue. The country has to run a digitized governance system, e-procurement. If we do that, probably the ACC will even become redundant. I want to see a day when the ACC is redundant. When the humans in this country have so evolved that we can govern ourselves so much that the ACC is no longer important. That is what I want to see. It's okay. We can always find other jobs. Everybody in the ACC is a strong professional. They can get jobs somewhere. But that is my dream for Sierra Leone. Because the mere existence of an anti-corruption commission shows that we are not yet serious as a country. Yes. Because it means corruption is a very serious problem. But if corruption were not a very serious problem, what we do at the ACCs could be handled by a department. And then it will signal to the world that this is a serious country. Where corruption is not too much of a problem, the human beings have evolved, they are dealing with their problems better, then corruption becomes a normal everyday crime, like the police deal with somebody who does something. But the existence of an anti-corruption commission is itself a problem. And I dream of a day when it does not happen. But all of you, all of us here, have to be committed to that kind of high standard. Are we? Are we prepared for it? Ibrahim Sarasise. How do we relate? You asked us, how do we relate policy and administration?
Politics.
Oh, politics and administration?
Yes.
Of course, politics and administration are intertwined because leadership of the country comes out of politics, comes out of elections, comes out of party politics. And there is nothing wrong with that. I think it's a very good thing. It's just a question for us now, when we are in governance, to understand that we have a country to run, and because we have a country to run, we are ready to hold ourselves accountable. We have to be ready to tell ourselves that when you are a minister for Sierra Leone. And you do things that work for Sierra Leone. It does not mean you cannot be loyal to your political party. But I don't think the ethos of that political party is telling you to come and steal properties, to come and steal the resources of the state. I don't think there's any political party which puts in a manifesto and presents it to the people of Sierra Leone, and when we come, it is calamity coming for you. We are coming to steal everything. All of them promise that when we come, there will be good governance. There will be progress in the country. We have had agenda for prosperity. Now we have a new direction.
Yes.
So, let us make sure that whilst in those agendas of political parties, who really wins is Sierra Leone, not individuals. And that is why President Bio is very committed to this. That is why I am ACC commissioner. That is why the commission is giving a free hand. That is why Mr. Gobi and the team are working day and night without interference for us to see how we can change the story of the country, because President Bio is committing to ensuring this. It is now left for all of us to continue to support him to succeed. For example, he says he has the Big Five agenda, not so. And when I say this, people say, oh no, Ben Kaifala is doing politics. No, sir, I'm not doing politics. The ACC has to support the success of the Big Five agenda. We are not in a republic of our own. We are in Sierra Leone. And the president that was voted on an agenda. And that agenda identified that we will do agriculture, we will reform the public service, we will provide employment of youth, for youth, etc., etc. So what we do has to be in line with that agenda. It is not because the ACC has become political. It's because the ACC is committed and dedicated to Sierra Leone. And that is what the Sierra Leoneans voted. That is what they said they want to happen. It is not politics. So to straightforward answer your question, it is a question of remaining dedicated and committed to Sierra Leone and not to politics. If you can draw that dichotomy, then you're fine. And we have Saidu, who now said, if I want Parliament to debate the Auditor General's report, by all means. That is what the law says. That is what the Constitution says, that they should debate. Yes, they should debate it. But it does not mean there should not be accountability while they are debating it. Some of these things I have said are quick fix problems. Revenue collected, not banked. We should wait for Parliament to go and debate whether revenue was collected or banked. No. Staff not presented for verification. We should wait for Parliament to debate whether staff should be presented for verification or not. As a serious country, we have to take some of these things seriously, and we deal with them accordingly. And like I have said, there is no exception in the Anti-Corruption Act that says that the ACC cannot engage with the Auditor General's report. We will engage with the Auditor General's report.
This one question was compelling evidence for prosecution. This patient, that was the other case.
Oh yes, it is not skipped, it is kept for the last. Now, prosecutorial threshold is a legal term. Because as lawyers, the law requires that when a case is presented in court, we have to prove it beyond all reasonable doubt. Now, that is a threshold, and it's a very high threshold. The only threshold that is beyond that is certainty. Okay? Now, when a case comes to the ACC and we look at it, we are with the mindset that we have to prove that case beyond all reasonable doubt. That means no reasonable doubt should be left. Any reasonable doubt that is left is read in favor of the accused person by the court. So, as an institution representing the state, we cannot be frivolous with our decision making. We can look at the case and say, yes, there is some evidence here, but there is reasonable doubt here and there. If we go to court, we'll fail. Now, that decision that we take that we may fail if we take this case to court is what prosecutorial threshold is. When we can convince ourselves beyond 50% that if we go to court, we have a 60% chance to succeed. When we can convince ourselves that if we go to court, we have a 70% chance to succeed. When we go to court and we can tell ourselves that we have an 80, 90 to 100% chance of succeeding, then it has passed prosecutorial threshold. But if it is below 50%, That is the time we now look and say, okay, if we go to court, we may fail. Maybe let us recover the money. Maybe let us refer to administrative action. Or let's just leave it. It's not worth our time. Do you understand? So that goes, and the process that goes into that decision making is not frivolous, by the way. It goes through forensic processes from the investigators who investigate. They provide their opinion on the evidence they have investigated. It goes to the lawyers. The lawyers review the case. The lawyers provide their own opinion, legal opinion on the issues. It comes to the commissioner. Sometimes the commissioner meets with the investigators, and then meets with the prosecutors, and then meets jointly with the investigators and the prosecutors. And then, after reviewing everything, we decide that, okay, this one does not meet the prosecutorial threshold. So I hear some people laugh about it, the commission says prosecutorial threshold. You have no idea. If we take that case to court, when we have not gone through this kind of rigor and advise ourselves accordingly, we will go and fail and embarrass ourselves. And that is why prosecutorial threshold was put into the act, and that is why it is so significant. I think Mr. Governor was the last question. Yes. Well, thank you very much. Let us all continue to stand with Sierra Leone. Let us all continue to stand by Sierra Leone. And I'll hand you over to Mr. Gobi. Thank you very much for your brilliant administration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. And let me once more thank everybody for taking your time to come. And for you who still have questions or you cannot, please advise to wait for better luck next time. At this point in time now, I will again hand you over to Mr. Ture, who originally handed over this press conference to me. So back to you, Mr. Ture, for any other business. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner DC. We have administrative ministry, Commissioner.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So please just stay where you are. Stay where you are, and we'll ensure that we do it for that. Please, okay?
Tomorrow on Fox News Sunday, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance joins the program to talk about this week.